In terms of storage of digital media, it can play a part in a person's case. I've had situations where a client will say to me that they have all these text messages that they've saved between their ex-spouse, and when I look at the actual text messages, they're not text messages, they're photographs of text messages.
Yes.
And that can be very problematic because the text messages now, they're not date stamped and time stamped, all of them. So it's the worst puzzle for me to try to figure out the sequence of all of this. When did it happen? What are they talking about? And sometimes it can be very important. Somebody will say, I had these text messages where my spouse admitted to something, but I dropped my phone in the toilet and I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, that one. So yeah, the recoverability of that, and like you said, the being able to authenticate those. So we have found in numerous cases, cell phones nowadays, smartphones, be it Android or Apple, are incredibly survivable. The storage on those is not in any way altered by water, or we've seen people put their phones in coffee, alcohol, things like this. None of that really affects the storage, and through good forensics, you can recover all of that media, so that's helpful for us. But yeah, that issue of photos of text message or screen captures of text messages, and then trying to, tell the whole story or provide the context around that, can be very difficult.
To utilize services of somebody like you, and that could be that. With your experience at trial, I mean, that's very helpful for me to know that you've actually testified, because you have a certain comfort level that somebody that doesn't have that experience most definitely wouldn't have. And testifying in and of itself is scary.
Right.
It's very intimidating.
High pressure.
Right, and you're obviously going to be subject to cross-examination, so the ability to anticipate certain questions that are going to be asked and the ability to defend your position is something that's a skill that's developed. So for you to have that background is tremendously valuable for litigators.
It's also useful, and you mentioned earlier the situations where the judge themselves isn't really sure what they're hearing, and we actually get pulled into kind of a lot of sidebar situations with the judge going, can you just answer some of my questions here? Like, when you said this, what does that mean?
Right, exactly.
Explain it to me in smaller words
right.
Again. And I personally think that's a very valuable situation in a case, because that way whatever you intended to put forward as the data stuff actually gets resolved kind of right there in the courtroom.